I love this. Today's Ladies' Day. Today's Ladies' Day. The house is full of, I don't know. I think everybody here is younger than me, so, I don't know. But, sometimes it's cool outside. It's kind of hot under these lights, so we gave everybody a fan in case we get overheated. I'll tell you what got overheated last night, the election in Cherokee County. I will just say my candidate is in the runoff, Will Cagle. Love this guy. Love what he stands for. Conservative Christian values. Did y'all know I'm a conservative Christian? Did you know that's probably how I've made it 20 years in television in North Georgia? I'm a conservative Christian. I do have some friends that don't vote like me, and I do have family members who don't vote like me. But most people vote like me because we're conservative Christians. And that's such a good place to be in life. We're facing a world full of craziness, and we got to give credit to Cracker Barrel. Somebody made a decision to take down that silly sign and to put Herschel back up there. Is that right?
That's correct.
So they lost how many? 100 million in a day?
Yes.
100 million in a day. Oh. And it'd be kind of like, this company's 120 years old? If Mr. Harrison could come back today, a conservative gentleman. Conservative gentleman, business built on conservative values and loyal people, and that matters. And I think I read that Cracker Barrel has 70,000 employees, and many employees spoke up. And one of the things that one of them spoke up about, I was kind of like, wow. And we're not going to talk about it on the air because we'd probably get sued, but I'll tell y'all later. But it was when you give your employees a pep talk, make it positive. Don't ever do any negativity, because if you're trying to bring people into the hospital, and if y'all are trying to make people love your businesses, you got to create a positive atmosphere.
Absolutely.
And I think what Cracker Barrel did was not real positive.
No. Well, it shows in their stock price.
$100 million in a day. Lordy me, have mercy. I wonder if she lost her job.
I don't know. I've not heard.
I'd be saying the door swings both ways. We welcomed you in and we're asking you out. I don't know what they'll do. I don't know. But anyway, Miss Susan Kiker is here, and y'all know her very, very well. And you brought some guests, and everybody knows this beautiful lady.
Yes.
Did John tell you could come be here today, and you didn't have to make biscuits and
Yes,
gravy?
he said to tell you hello.
Good deal. And?
And we have Lynn Cochran, her company, Appalachian Hospice Care. We've all partnered together to do the health fair at Blue Ridge Medical Center, and so we're very excited about it. It's been several years.
A few years,
yes,
yeah.
2017,
Yeah.
and so we're just very excited about having this for the community, and we look forward to a lot of people turning out for it. We got a lot of free blood work options, free EKG, so there's a lot that we're offering.
And like once a year, everybody says, okay, go have a checkup. And often Angela had a pap test, and 4 months later was diagnosed with stage 3 cancer. So often, your regular doctor's visit once a year doesn't catch something. So it's great that y'all are offering this, because it's probably, some people have probably already had a checkup, but this is more checkup.
Yes, and we wanted to offer free labs, and then a couple of tests, it'd be at a cost. But we just wanted to do that for the community and let them know that we're here serving the community, and we're very excited.
Once again, I remember when y'all used to do the mammogram parties. That was fun. That was fun.
Yeah, it was always fun.
Yeah, and love all the pink bling, and that was always a lot of fun. And I think I might still have some of that pink bling that y'all always distributed. That's important, because you want to feel like you're doing something and giving back.
Correct, yeah.
And we had a lot of positive results then. People that had put it off that came with a friend.
Right.
We know there was some early detections, and we know there was some lives saved, that families have come back and said, Mom would have never done that. She went with a friend, and because of that, she's still here with us. So, you know, we knew it was very effective. I mean, there's a lady I know still now that sells real estate in the community that it was an early detection, but a severe one. But early, you know, for her to have done that, she'd never done a mammogram before.
Yeah.
So she's still with us, and her daughter is always still tells me, you know, Mom's still here with us because of that mammogram party
Sure.
that you had.
Yeah.
So, you know, we want people to, even if you have, we know there's a lot of people that are uninsured, but we know even people
Or
that
often
are
underinsured.
have
Yes.
that and or have huge deductibles. And so sometimes they won't do that blood work because it's expensive. And it's like, you know, I'm fine. So these blood panels that they do are very comprehensive. And so hopefully we'll get people, you know, those tests that they need and might not be able to afford or just put off because it's so expensive and they need to.
It's going to be important that people fast on some of them,
Yes,
isn't it? Yes,
yes,
that's very, very
yeah.
important because a lot of times your labs aren't correct if you've gone by and had a hot fudge sundae on the way. That's probably not a good idea. Probably not a good idea.
That's true, but the health fair's from 7 to 11, and we will be providing food for those that have fasted, so they will
Right.
not.
And it is smart to just like, what do they say, from midnight on? Is that right?
Yes.
So from midnight on, just put some
Yeah.
duct tape over your mouth, don't eat anything, and then go get your labs done. So now I want to ask you about hospice because we've used hospice several times during our lifetime with family members who passed away. I could never do a job with hospice. I would get so attached to people and I would be the biggest ball baby and crying, you know. That has to be hard.
Well, and my answer to everyone about that is I feel like it truly has to be a calling on your life for you to do it very well. And that doesn't mean that we don't get attached to our patients. I actually got very attached to a patient that we served for a short time and was sharing tears and stories and memories about her with a coworker last Thursday. But we're there for each other and we support each other and support our families through that journey. And that's when I speak with families and discuss their options and what hospice can do, I always let them know, you know, thank you for the honor of allowing us to walk beside you in this journey that you're on right now.
You know, one of the hardest things when my husband was diagnosed with cancer, his doctor, Piedmont, Atlanta, Dr. York, said, I'm going to call in hospice. And I stepped outside, asked the doctor to step outside. I said, please don't. I said, he is terrified of hospice because he thinks it means death. And now hospice means living a quality of life longer.
You
It's
are
very
absolutely
different.
right.
It's very different.
It is different. It has evolved, but unfortunately, those are still conversations that I'm having with families every day to try to help encourage them and educate them to understand that just because you sign up doesn't mean that your loved one is going to pass away within 24 hours, or there's not a time stamp once you sign the papers, and help them understand that we're there to walk alongside you and support you in fulfilling your bucket list. What is it that you want to do? How can we improve your quality of life for as long as you have left? So yes, it has definitely evolved over the years.
It has, and he died 23 years ago, and it's so crazy because Tom Shipman was our hospice person who came out to the house, and I can remember it like it was yesterday. I was sitting in the house, JS was sitting in the recliner. I saw Tom get out of his car, and I ran out on the front porch, and I said, no, you can't come in today. No, you can't. We can't. I said, he is not dealing with this well yet. He knows that there's a chance he won't make it, but he's not dealing with it well. I said, he doesn't want to see hospice at all. And then I called him later and I said, okay, come out. I'll do the paperwork and all this, but he can't be here during this time. I mean, I was protective of him because he was so afraid that was like sealing the deal, that he was going to leave there. And it was so hard, but the day that hospice came out, I called him after he had gone into a coma. I just couldn't call until he didn't know. And it's good that it's not like that anymore because he was terrified. He just thought that was his, you know, they've written me a prescription to die.
And I really, my role has been working with our families when we get a referral and talking with them in the beginning, but I'm also a social worker, and that's how I started with our company, is one-on-one with our families and supporting them and providing them with resources. And I still do that from time to time, and that helps fill my cup in a different way. But I come at this from a perspective of allow me to educate you and talk to you about what all we can offer you and allow you to make the best informed decision for you and your family. I'm not here to tell you that you need to sign up today. I'm here to tell you what we do and allow you to ask questions and allow you to make that decision. You know, Sherry, there's actually research studies, and the specific ones I'm getting older and can't remember if it's not right in front of me, but there are research studies, evidence-based studies that show that when you sign up for hospice sooner, that it actually lengthens your life. So not only are we here to improve your quality of life, but we can also improve your quantity when you come on service, because you're able to stay at home if you want, or if you want to go travel or go to church. You know, you're not bound to be in your home. We have some families that say, well, we want to go on vacation to Florida, or we want to go on a cruise or to South Carolina, and we work with their dreams and their hopes, and to still ensure that they're getting the care while they're traveling.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Well, it was so crazy because they gave him 6 months to live, and he made it 11 months and 3 weeks. And during that time, we went to every single doctor after they had said, you know, Mr. Martin, go home and get your affairs in order. Your time is near. Nobody knows our time except God.
That's right.
Nobody knows our time except God. They gave my mother 6 months, and she lived 2 years and 2 months. And so, you know, nobody knows.
No, and I'm so glad you've brought that point up too, because that's always another fear of families is, well, if we sign up, does that mean that they only have 6 months to live? And, you know, I always try to handle those conversations delicately and say, you know, no doctor, nor myself, nor anyone other than our master knows what our timeline is like. And just because you don't pass away in 6 months doesn't mean that hospice services end. And I have, you know, I go into that in more detail with our families and explain to them the CMS regulations and how we can continue to walk alongside them past that 6 month time mark and support them.
Yeah, and staying at home, doesn't everybody feel better at home?
Yes.
I know you've just been on a cruise.
Yes.
I love being at home in my bed. I'll travel from 6 a.m. until midnight, but I want to be at home in my bed.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm choir, as my granny would say. I'm just choir. I like being in my own bed. It's weird. But being at home, I think, just makes your whole psyche just feel better. You look around, familiar things, familiar faces, and it's better. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And our goal is to come in and if you allow us to be an extended part of your family. And our company's motto is our family taking care of yours. And I can honestly say that every employee that I work with really does want to come in and be an extended part of your family and love on you and your loved one and find out what's important to you. We have a nurse that will take cupcakes or ice creams or Frosties. And we didn't know that to begin with until the next nurse showed up and said, well, where's my Frosty? He always brings me a treat.
Yeah, okay. You know, it's crazy, but when I was taking care of JS and I refused to ask for help, I think because as his wife, I felt it was my duty to take care of him. And that's hard for you to give up part of what you feel like is your responsibility. Now that I did it and I was there 24/7, no breaks at all, I wish I had called for help. I wish I had made that call and just told him. I could have lied and said it's home health, sugar. It's not hospice, you know. And but I didn't, and I felt like I had to carry the burden myself, and that's hard. It's really hard.
That's a very large burden
really
to carry
hard.
on your
Yeah,
own.
yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Very hard. And I said, I remember we gave him one tiny little dose of morphine, and I would not give it to him. I made my sister-in-law, because I said, if this is the end of his life, I don't want to be the one that administered the end of his life. It's tough. It's a lot of responsibility, and it's a lot of guilt later, you know, like, did I take care of him to the best of my ability? Did he have everything he needed? Don't be too proud to call for help. Call for help.
Exactly.
And say, hey, I can't do this by myself.
I had to utilize hospice services for my dad when he passed away about 3.5 years ago. And
It's hard.
it was very hard. It was a very brief, sudden illness. But I'm so thankful that I had them, because even though I work in this field, I'm a social worker, not a nurse. So I don't know about dosing medications, and it's so different when it's your family.
Oh, yeah.
It's just the boundary lines are just very different. So to be able to pick up the phone no matter what time or day or night, because hospice is there for you 24/7, and say, these are the symptoms, what do I need to do, and have a calm, reassuring voice on the other end of the line telling me what to do so that my dad was comfortable and peaceful, means the world to me even to this day.
Sure, absolutely.
Yes.
So pick up the phone and call. Now,
Yes.
okay, when this event happens, people show up at 7 a.m. and they get their blood work, and you're going to feed them.
Correct.
They're going to be happy. Are you going to give them goodies too?
Yes, there'll be.
What are you going to give them?
Well, food-wise,
Anything.
well, there's
Goodie
a lot of
bags? Are y'all doing some
there-
goodie bags?
Yes,
Yeah.
we have 25 sponsors or participants in the health fair, so they always have giveaways. We have giveaways, so we're excited.
And that's what people love. People love to show up and feel like they've been treated. So.
And we are going to have a bouncy house. We're going to have therapy animals and a helicopter, life flight helicopter demonstration. You know, people are mesmerized by the helicopters. People just stop when one's coming into the
Oh, yeah.
hospital.
You
so-
know, that's interesting you said that. I have stopped on Highway 5 and pulled over and said a prayer, because you know when that helicopter comes, it's usually not great news. Yeah.
Exactly.
And I live in their flight path in Blue Ridge, and actually heard it come over about 10:30, I think it was last night. Heard it over the TV, and I said, oh, and I did the same thing. I stopped and just said a
The
prayer.
family needs our support.
But how thankful should we be to have our small rural hospitals still
With,
alive and in our county? Because I know when I'm at home how frequently that life flight helicopter flies over, and how many lives are being saved, and families are thankful for that service in our rural county.
Right.
And can you imagine, think about this, everybody makes fun of me because I have this 20-mile radius south. That's as far as I go. I'll go north, way north. I'll go North Carolina. I'll go Mount Airy, North Carolina. But you send me into the city and I go crazy, or you put me on the river road and I have an overspreading. So if you had a choice of riding in an ambulance on the river road or going by helicopter, your choice would mean life or death.
Well,
Seriously.
and a lot of times it is life and
Yeah,
death.
yeah.
Just like
You have a time frame.
Just like
Johnny.
John's experience, you know, this health fair is pretty much everybody that saved his life. You know, when he was at the gym working out when it happened, and he just thought he'd done something on one of the machines, and went home and was just going to sit on the couch, and you know, and he didn't. So
Almost
he
left this world.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
And so, you know, the EMS came and they did their job. He went to the hospital, and they credit Dr. Mudre with saving his life, because his thoracic surgeon said most of the time the pain is in the back and they're overlooking this aneurysm. His was an aortic tear, so it completely blew. And they don't focus on that, and the person dies right there. So they did what they did. Life Flight took him to Erlanger, and then they saved his life there. But if we had not had the resources in our county, and he would not have survived to have gone to a hospital
Another.
farther away.
Sure,
You know,
yeah.
so as I say, everybody did their best work that day, but they saved his life, you know, and I know that they do it all the time. You
And
know.
that's what I started saying. This
Yes.
is one of many stories.
Right,
Yeah,
Exactly.
Now, how old was he when that happened?
57.
Okay, see, that is so crazy. I listen to the obituaries, and I'm older than 80% of the people in the obituaries, because it could be somebody who's healthy as a horse. There was a lady that came on here years and years ago, and she was a health nut, and she was beautiful, and she was perfect size, perfect everything, ran 6 miles a day. She died in 6 weeks after being diagnosed with cancer. And I'm like, we don't know what's going to happen, but we can get the best care to kind of go down that avenue.
Yeah, and a lot of people say, well, you know, don't go there, but you know, Johnny would have not lived to have gone further down the road either way, and he I was there when Cindy was out of town, and she asked me to go down.
Oh my gosh.
So
you
they're
weren't-
cousins. So
Yeah.
she
Oh my
was-
gosh.
yes.
And
Wow.
So I was in
So,
Atlanta with my mom because she was sick.
Oh
So,
my gosh.
And,
That's like a double whammy.
and
Holy cow.
when he called 911, he
What
couldn't
made
even
him
get
finally
back.
call 911?
I think Cindy told him
Said,
to.
he
"Buddy."
said, I think I'm having a heart attack. You know,
Yeah.
he called because I had just talked to him probably 20 minutes before everything was fine. And he called back and he said, I think I'm having a heart attack. And I said, well, call 911, you know. And he said, I decided to. But
Yeah.
he said, I was just going to lay down on the couch.
And
he would-
I thought
wow.
I'd feel better.
Oh my
And he
gosh.
could
Yeah.
not even stand up to let the EMTs into the house. He had to yell and tell them because the blood had left his legs. I mean, that's how, and they don't live 2 minutes away from the station house.
Right.
Uh-huh.
And he couldn't even walk between the time he called and the time they got there. And so it was very critical, and, you know, thank God, you know, Dr. Moodray, you know, he's still an ER physician at the hospital, and he and the radiologist, you know, they got him out. I've never seen him get anyone out as fast as he was taken out, and took him into surgery the minute the flight landed.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is one of those stories that needs to be told more often.
Yes.
Because people don't realize. And you know, you say, oh, I don't want to call. What if it's just it's a false alarm? What if it's? How do we know?
You
How did he know? I mean,
He finally said,
I mean, he was at the
pain
gym
in
working
his-
out,
Yeah,
so-
so he had a knee replacement at the hospital, and he was still doing all of that to keep his knee, you know, going well. That's why he was in the gym, did that all the time. So for his age and health, was in great shape. No history of any kind of heart issues or anything like that. So like you say, he was like, well, you know, I don't know, but his chest started hurting a lot. He said he felt like somebody just had a hold of him. And so that's when he finally called 911.
wow.
And then he had the door locked, but we had a key that
Yeah.
they got in. So
Well, you know, when you think about the time frame from the time he left the gym, probably 30 minutes or so.
you should see what the doctors do when he tells that he drove himself home.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they're
That is
like, you
crazy.
did what? You know, you,
That is
you
crazy.
didn't call 911 at the gym.
Oh,
He's
my
like, no.
gosh.
So yeah, so he drove home, which wasn't that far, but then drug himself in the house, and then realized, you know, maybe I need to call
Yeah.
911.
And you know, men are guilty of thinking, I'll be okay. Oh, I'll be okay. I'll be okay. No, often you need to pick up the
Well,
phone.
women are too, you know, because
Right.
a lot of signs of heart issues are different than men's. But, you know, everything just worked out perfect
It
for
did.
Johnny that day.
I
And
mean-
he's always really, of course, you know, by the grace of God, he's here and we all know that, but he was given about a 3% chance to survive it. And so, you know, he always wants to talk about it. He's talked about it at church. He's talked about it different things because he wants people to call 911. He
Oh,
wants
yeah.
people to,
Absolutely.
you know, to be the next person that's a success story too.
And had he had a checkup, would they have found this problem?
No.
See,
No.
that's what's so scary. That's what's so scary. But there's so many things that can be diagnosed early
Correct.
if you go in and have the checkups. And so, yeah. I've outlived my mother and my father. They both died at the same age, and they both had cancer, different kinds. And so, you know, every time you get and then when I almost lost my arm, and I'm trying to, you know, get through this, and I'm like, okay, I've had cancer several times now, and I'm like, okay, I've made it. You pass that mark, and then you pass the next mark, and you're like, I may live to be old. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
I think that's the goal for all of us
It's pretty cool.
to-
Yeah.
to live
Yeah.
a good long
Now,
life.
does hospice have an age that you take people, or is there a?
So I'm trying to figure out how to delicately answer this. We all know that sadly children do pass away. And so unfortunately, our particular hospice at this time does not do pediatrics. So 18 and older has been our age range.
Okay.
And very unfortunately, in the last 2 years, we've had several younger patients. But when I say younger, in their 30s and 40s. And the reasons for their passing is all different. And so I'm so thankful for what we do, because with hospice, and what I personally took advantage of with my father, was the bereavement services. Sherry, I don't know if you recall that, but after your loved one dies, when they're on service with hospice, we have a bereavement coordinator, oftentimes a chaplain, but can be a social worker, and they follow up with you for 13 months after your loved one dies, and follows up with phone calls, checks in with you, offers you resources and support. I personally spoke to the bereavement chaplain multiple times after my dad passed away and took advantage of that support, because, like I said, personal and professional are very
Totally
different,
yeah.
very different. And so when we have our younger patients that passed, oftentimes there's children involved that have lost a parent, or sometimes they're very close even to their grandparents. And so there are numerous books about grief and dying written for children, and we can offer them those and talk about different resources for children and their grief, as well as adults.
You know, Xana's 3, and she has, Papa John is 89, and he's a big part of her life, and it worries me. You know, I hope he lives to be 99 and she's old enough to understand death. Yeah. But that would be so hard for a child when you know, they see them daily and they play with them and they go out on the farm with them and they, you know, and then they're gone. So that has to be so hard to explain.
I personally experienced a lot of death as a child. I lost both grandparents, my dad's parents, 9 months apart. And I have to give a lot of credit to my mom and dad, because they helped me understand that while it's sad and it's okay to be sad, that death is a normal part of life. And I think if we can break down those barriers of those very uncomfortable situations and conversations sometimes, and we normalize that death is as much of a part of living, and especially when we have our faith in God and we're rooted in that, we can turn to our faith and help explain the afterlife. But with respect to people that do not believe the same, do not have that foundation, they have other beliefs, we work with all backgrounds, all faiths and beliefs, and work within that system to help normalize death for children and have those conversations.
Well, I wrote an article this week for the Cherokee Scout, and it was about Brady Singleton. And this child's been gone almost 19 years. And it's so hard to accept the fact that this child is still not here with us. And I'm on a mission, and y'all have got to help me. I'm working through a congressman that I've gotten response, and I've gotten phone calls, and I've gotten an offer for, well, possibly we could get you this. That's not what I want. He died, you know, at the North Carolina-Tennessee line. Yes. I want a marker halfway here, that ends a mile in front of their home. And I just want it to say, in honor and in memory of Grady Anderson and Brady Singleton, killed by drunk drivers. And the state of Georgia, the state of North Carolina, I'm so used to dealing with Georgia, and our dear friend who always helped me anytime I needed anything. I'd call David and I'd get it done. I'd call David, I'd get it done. We'd call David, we'd get it done. Now there's no David in North Carolina to call. And they said, well, we can come in and offer a litter pickup in memory of, I'm not interested in that. I want a dadgum sign that says Memorial Highway in honor of.
Correct.
Period. You know, Grady Anderson taught for 50 years in the Copper Basin. Shirley taught at Hiwassee Dam. Ron taught at Copper Basin. These people, this child and his grandfather need to be honored. And to have to fight to get that done, all I want is a dadgum sign. I want a sign, and I want it here, and I want it here. And I said, you know, they still own a lot of land, and I told Shirley, I said, if I don't get anywhere with them, I'm going to have a big sign put up on their property, and then nobody can do anything about it. But thinking about me, when I'm gone, when Ron and Shirley are gone, nobody's going to remember to tell the story of a 3-year, 9-month-old little boy that was killed because somebody left him laying in a creek to drown after they hit him drunk. You know, nobody's going to remember that. And it's so important. It is so important. So I've asked everybody, read the article. It's in the Cherokee Scout. It tells you the congressman's name. It tells you the senator. Email them, text them, call them, stop their grandma in the grocery store. I don't care how you get in touch with them. I need help to get this done. And often we don't get involved. we need to get involved. We need to get involved with our elections. We need to remain the kind of place we are, nice, sane, sweet people, cool, calm, collected. We don't need to go crazy. We need to just stay just sweet. And when I look, we were going to Fields of the Wood when I passed by the scene, and there's a little cross there, and there's the creek where he drowned. And I just said, you know, that day it was on my mind over and over and over. I've got to make people aware we're coming up on a holiday weekend. Do you know how much beer will be sold in Fannin County? Do you know how much beer will be sold in Ball Ground? They've made this thing in Ball Ground now where on event days you can walk around open container with a drink in your hand. I would have voted that down. Our city voted it in, and I disagreed with it, you know, because alcohol ends lives often. And I said, it's so sad because I know that the Singletons, their only child is gone because of that. And I said, I want people to remember that little boy. And all I want is a sign. I want a dadgum sign. So I need help. So y'all got to help me. Write letters, call your congressman, do whatever you can do, And it's the senator and the congressman who over the Murphy district.
Okay.
So, and for y'all out there, help me. I need help with it. I thought I could get it done just like this.
No.
I can't.
No.
So you can't often do that, but don't give up.
No, don't give up.
Let's talk about not giving up. This hospital was closed for how long?
Well, the hospital was not actually closed. When Java bought us, we were owned by QHC, and they were almost ready to close down. So, and they were trying to get rural emergency hospital care. So with that, you do not have inpatients. We always had the same services, outpatient, but people didn't realize that. And now that we're back, we have beds open and we have swing bed. It's just hard to, when people get something ingrained in their mind, it's hard to get them to switch back over that, you know, we're a full service community hospital now. And, you know, the ER was always, you know, it's open 24/7, 365 days a year, and our outpatient surgeries, but now we have inpatients, and so we're hoping to open 5 more beds soon, and you know, we're just trying to get that word out, and hopefully with this, the help of Blue Ridge Assisted Living and Appalachian Hospice, we team together to have this community health fair. That will be a big help in people knowing that we are there and we still do all the same services that we had done in the past.
And you know, often people transition from the hospital to assisted living.
That's true.
Because they are in the hospital, the kids finally say, look, mom and dad can't stay alone. They can't do this. They cannot do it on their own. That's a hard decision, isn't it?
It's a very hard decision.
Because we're all independent old broads, and we don't want anybody to take care of us.
No.
And then all of a sudden you say, I have a friend whose daddy went to assisted living, and it's so funny because now she thought it was going to be a short period of time after surgery, and then he would want to go home. Oh, heck no. Oh, heck no. He loves it. He loves it. And she'll go get him and visit, and he'll say, well, I'm ready to go back home now. And you're like, okay, in this 2-month period, you made this transition.
Yes.
Isn't that
That's
awesome?
true.
Yeah.
It is. Well, they love the attention. They love the security of it, and you know, the socialization. So many people older now are at home alone. They're not seeing anyone. They're not going to church like they once did. They're not going to do a lot of things. They don't really go to the grocery store, and so they moved there. And you know, we're there 24 hours a day. We're going to make your meals. We're going to clean your room, we're going to do your laundry, but we have lots of entertainment. We have wonderful musicians that come in and sing, and we have a bus. You know, they go all over the place on the bus, but they feel safe going with a group and somebody with them there, and they know if something happens, they have the resources to get somebody to help them. And so it's a huge decision, and that's what I do is help people through that. And You know, we also have at our place we have memory care, so for people that have a formal diagnosis of dementia or Alzheimer's.
Let me ask you about that, because we have a friend who was just diagnosed, and very independent, beautiful lady, and she's having a really hard time with this. And it was kind of, you could see it for a year or so, you know, and now reality hit. So what's the process, Cindy? How do they deal with that?
So one of the things is 5 years is a real big benchmark in the disease. So a lot of times families will be seeing it come along. There'll be different things, but about the time 3 to 5 years, but a lot of times that 5-year mark, people really come in and say, I can't do it anymore. I've done everything. I've tried everything. And, you know, that's when I always tell them, you know, this disease is stronger than you are. It never sleeps, it never rests, and it's going to win. And it's okay to ask for help. And, you know, it's really hard for people to do that, because a lot of times the resident then can't make the decision. A family member or a friend, whoever's seeing about their welfare, has to make that decision, and it's not easy. And so, you know, I see grown men that have been married 45 years crying in my office because they can't do it anymore.
Oh yeah.
It's a hard thing, and it's, to me, I really enjoy what I do, even though there's some really hard days, because you see the suffering on their faces.
Oh yeah.
And so, you know, the thing I would say is to go to assisted living and talk to somebody. It doesn't mean you're going to move in today, but I can give you lots of help and information in knowing when that right time is.
And you know, the hardest thing, when you said that, I thought of my dear friend. I guess if I was ever in love with a man, just as a human being, his name was Kenneth Ray, and his wife, he took care of her for 13 years. 13 years, day and night. You talking about wearing somebody down?
Yes.
And then at a short period of time, he put her in somewhere where she was getting some help. After 3 days, he went back and got her. He could not handle the guilt, and I think that's something that we need to understand. Yes, that's your love, that's your soulmate, that's your everything, but there's a point in time that it will wear you down. It will wear you down.
And it does.
It does. And he did it for 13 years, and I got in his, I'll never forget this, I got in his truck one day to go look at real estate. And he said, excuse that thing, but I had to do that so I could haul my, and he had adjusted his pickup truck to have this handicap accessible, and I had to crawl over it and all this. And he said, but we were married for 40-something years, and he said, I just couldn't not take care of her. There's a point in time that you can't do it all. You can't do it all.
And it's so hard, and we have so many families that visit so much, because, you know, they can come and go. You can come and go as you want to. When you're in assisted living, you can go home, you can go on vacation, you can do whatever you want to. And families are welcome, and we have some family members that come every day of the world to see their loved one. This year, I had to make a really tough decision with my brother, and he now lives in our assisted living. So I've not only experienced from the work side, but from the personal side. And so, you know, I fully understand how hard that is for somebody to make that decision.
It is. It is. And you know, the cool thing, and it's like Becky's dad, when he got there, he was the only single dude, and there was a lot of women around there, so I think he was getting a little attention.
And he liked it.
Well, they do.
It's really cool. I mean, it's really cool to see him almost spark up again.
Well, we have a wonderful staff. They're very respectful. Most all of them are from the community, so they may know these people. Some of them have taught them in school. Somebody knows somebody and says, do you take care of my aunt, and that kind of thing. And so they love on them. They speak with them with great respect. It's honey this and that, and you know, who doesn't want to hear that? Somebody walk by and give you a little hug, you know, how are you today, or here's your food, and all that. So it does really change their lives for the better, because they get that attention.
Recently, I have had so many things shared with me about somebody who's working in the Atlanta area, and how many homes they've gone in that the home is in non-livable condition because the elderly person, maybe the husband took care of everything, he passed away, the wife was left there. She didn't know how to handle all the different things, from the plumbing to the electricity to, I've had some pictures shared with me, because everybody knows I'll help anybody. And they're like, can you help this lady? And I said, God, I don't even know where to start. But then I find a place to start. Often parents are outliving their children and their spouse, and then one person is left, and there's nobody to give them the help they need. And that's very scary, but I've seen it up close and personal now. And some pictures were shared to me the other day, and I'm like, we got to get her out of there. We've got to rescue her. She doesn't want to be rescued. She wants to be in her home. Because her mind is still there, but she's not physically able to do, and it's a disaster.
Well, like a couple of weeks ago, I spoke to a lady, her mom's 102.
Wow.
So, she's no young girl if her mama is 102. And so she's like, she's in better shape in many ways than I am.
Wow.
But so I can't take care of her like I need to because physically I can't do it. So, they are living longer. We have 2 World War II veterans that are 100 years old that live with us and have been there for a while. And they do great. But, their children can't take care of them.
Or their children have passed away.
Or they're not present.
Yeah.
And so, we have people that do not have anyone anymore. They've outlived all their family, and so we are their family. And so assisted living does a lot of things for people, and not just that, but we are their family for many of these people.
Right.
And that's why they call it home when they go. Like when a holiday comes, the families will take them out and they'll think, oh, they're going to stay, and they're like, well, I'm ready to go back home now. And they're like, really? So they're always kind of surprised at how much they want to come back. So,
I love that. I love that. Well, the lady Geneva Dorsey celebrated her 103rd birthday this year, and I've known Geneva a long, long time. I'd say Geneva will outlive all of her family. She's the strongest, toughest bird I ever saw. And I love that about her, you know, but she has to have care now. So it's just, it's a different life. It's a different life.
We had the honor of caring for a lady that was 105 years old, and she did not start on our hospice services because she was too healthy and was still going to bingo once a week and doing all of her activities. She needed an extra little oversight, and so our palliative care program was a great fit for her to begin with, but 105 years old and going strong.
How awesome is that?
Yeah.
How awesome is that? Yeah. Well, girls, we're going to take a commercial break, and then we're going to do a song by Mr. Ellijay. And you can Trace, you just pick whatever you want, but make it upbeat, and so all these old girls will just get up and dance. Yeah, right. Here we go.
Whether you're in the mood for chicken strips, a delicious burger, our classic banana split, or an upside-down thick blizzard treat, we've got you covered. Hot and fresh food every day, every time, and delicious DQ soft serve make the perfect pair at your favorite place. Not fast food, fan food fast. Your Blue Ridge, Ellijay, and Jasper Dairy Queens are your meet, eat, and treat headquarters.
Thank you for choosing DQ. How may I serve you?
Here's the deal. We gotta set ourselves up. See, retirement is the long game. We can't play about our future or our finances. Make moves, set up goals. Don't worry about a setback. Just save up, stack up to reach them. Let's put ourselves in the right position. Pre-game to greater things. This is Pretirement.
Whether you're swimming in the sea, or splashing in the pool, making a masterpiece, or just making memories, writing a great American novel, or writing your term paper that's due tomorrow. Whatever you do in life, Farmers is here to protect it. For all your insurance needs, call Donald Curtis in Blue Ridge.
Welcome to Ellijay. That's with a J.
About 90 miles north of Atlanta, where the Coosawhatee lay. They come out of the hills to pay their telephone bills in a town called Ellijay. When the mayor drove a shiny 62 Corvette, Slim was in a cruiser with a Cobra jet. What you see is exactly what you get if you come to Ellijay. Hey, Ellijay, a mighty fine place to be. Ellijay, 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 good enough for you and me. Yeah. Apple blossom, baby possum, muscadine wine. Leave all your troubles at the welcome sign. I'm so proud to call a piece of his mind a town called Ellijay.
How you like them apples?
Run right through the middle of town, and late in the evening when the sun goes down, you can drive through and hear the happy sounds of the folks in Ellijay. Now way back in the summer of '73, the Red Dot parking lot was the place to be, but you could get more than what you bargained for back in those days in Ellijay. Yeah, you could. Ellijay, a mighty fine place to be. Ellijay, good enough for you and me. Yeah. 69 Road Runner, Charger RT, pistol grip 4-speed, 380. Boys, that's the way it all used to be, right here in Ellijay. Ellijay, a mighty fine place to be. Ellijay, don't you want to come and see? Yeah. Trout fishing, skinny dipping, party all night. Praise the Lord, honey, I saw the white picking on a Telecaster Saturday night on the streets of Ellijay. Ellijay, a mighty fine place to be. You and me floating down the Coosawhatee. Blossom, baby possum, muscadine wine. I'm so proud to call a piece of his mind. Drop all your troubles at the welcome
it, Chief.
We're back. Okay, we have to tell everybody everything that's going to be available at the health fair.
Okay, we're going to have the Fannin County Fire Safety Trailer, the therapy animals from Three Creeks Wilderness Therapy Healing Farms, a bouncy house, life flight helicopter demonstration, chat with the doctor, Dr. Stephen Eford. Also, sleep lab tours, and the sleep director, Robert Lindsay, will talk about there's like 180 different sleep disorders, and you'll tour the sleep lab, and then we'll have like a medical equipment company that has CPAP and BiPAP machines should you need one if you do have sleep apnea. And then of course we've got a free brown bag medicine review by our pharmacist, Daniel Postel, free blood glucose check, free BMI and body fat percentage check, free blood pressure check, free EKG, free labs to include CBC and lipid panel, which is very important. And
so
then
fast. Most
please
people need the fast.
Yes, you do, to get an accurate read.
Yep.
And then there will be food from the cafeteria so you can be sustained on your time around the other tables.
And you know what
that
day
we have.
that is? It's September 6th. You know what happened on September 6th? My sweet husband went to meet Jesus. And I got to tell y'all a quick, fast story. He did not like cats. My husband did not like cats. Because cats get on your pretty black cars and leave paw prints. So he didn't like cats. When Kevin Roper came to pick up this sweet man, they left the hearse open, came in to get him. The red cat on the farm jumped in the hearse. And we cracked up laughing. I'm bawling my eyes out as they're loading my husband, and I'm going, of course the cat is in there. Of course the cat is in there. I needed that moment, you know, because it was like my life was being loaded in that hearse, and the cat got in with him, and I'm like, are you kidding me? But you know what? You can't look at life, death, as the end of their life. You have to remember. You have to laugh. You have to smile. You have to think about it. Exactly. That was the hardest thing to do because I couldn't let him die. And I kept going back and forth to the cemetery every day, 3 times a day. It was crazy. It's almost like you admit that you're insane because you're doing insane things. Because that makes no sense. That's not going to bring them back. But you can learn to grieve. And I love that you've got bereavement help. Because it's hard to bury somebody that you've loved and lived with, and it's tough. It's tough.
It's your partner, and you know, that you share everything with, and then there's such a void.
All of a sudden, you sit down for dinner and you realize there's nobody to converse with, you know. And you can call a friend, but it's not the same. So yeah, so it's important that people get that help after the death. Yeah. For sure. Yeah. Okay. They show up at 7 a.m. It's 90% of this is free. There are some tests they have to do if they want to pay for some of the things.
The TSH and our PSA is $35.
Okay. Much cheaper than they could get it done anywhere else.
Correct.
Yes. And let's talk a little bit about the cost of health care. With the hospital, is this a nonprofit hospital?
Yes, we are now
not
for profit. That's why we are eligible for the Georgia Heart Program. And so ETC made a wonderful donation to us yesterday. And we appreciate everyone that has. And it's not a donation, it's in lieu of your Georgia state tax. And for businesses, you get a write-off on your federal tax. But the program, we just became eligible for it this year. We're in it with 49 other hospitals in the state of Georgia, but people have pledged a huge amount, and that is going to help us to purchase new equipment, paint, update the look. It can be used for a lot of different
And buy some
purposes.
pink bling when they have events.
Yes, that's right.
Because women like pink bling.
like
so-
Yes, most
They
definitely.
do.
And of course, October is Breast Cancer
It
Awareness
is, it
Month,
is,
so
yeah.
hopefully we'll be doing another Ladies' Night Out.
You know, it's crazy. My aunt had breast cancer, had 1 chemo treatment and died. My sister had kidney cancer, 1 treatment and died. And I said, if that won't bring it home to you, because you're facing a battle and you know you're going to face a battle, you're going to go through the chemo, you're going to be sick, then you're going to be okay. So, not always. But early detection is so
Definitely.
important.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's very important, to have the female test. I was asking one of the nurse practitioners how old you have to be before you don't have to have a pap smear. And she said, till you're dead. So, so that
Darn it. No, that never is fun. It never is
No,
fun.
it is not.
Well, thank you for being here today. And y'all, please check out. Number one, if you need a doctor or a hospital or you think you're feeling well, call 911.
Yes.
That's true.
John proved the point.
Yes.
John is alive today because of that. And we often say, oh, I'll be okay. No, you might not be okay.
Yeah.
So, and if you're looking because a family member is nearing days that you can't handle them, I don't even want to say the end of their life, nearing days that you can't handle it, pick up the phone and call Hospice. You want to give your phone number?
Yes, ma'am. Appalachian Hospice and Palliative Care out of Blairsville, Georgia. We cover from Towns County to Cherokee County, 706-781-0924.
And Cindy, your phone number.
We're Blue Ridge Assisted Living at 706-946-6000.
There you go. And the hospital phone number.
706-632-3711.
There you go. You know, there is help available for anything we're looking at. And when we think about, dementia is that nasty that it doesn't reverse. With cancer, sometimes you can beat cancer. Sometimes you can beat, you beat a broken hip, you beat some things, but we know with dementia it's so important to get the good care. And y'all do have a program that will help them through it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's the tough one. That's the
Yes.
really, really tough one. And today we have a dear friend, Ed Singleton, that gave me so many free subs for this community. I can't tell you how many sandwiches he provided for me to share with the communities we serve. Right now, as he is battling severe Parkinson, often I think we all need to be there for him because he was that gentleman who was always there for me.
Well,
Always.
and he's very generous in the community.
He was so good to this community. He was so good to this community. And sometimes we look at life and say, it's just not fair. It's just not fair, But say a prayer today for Ed Singleton. We love him. And God, he's a mess. He's the sweetest guy in the world. So yeah, say a prayer for him. We're going to leave you now where rivers, mountains, and good friends meet, only on ETC. But now we're on YouTube. So remember, every single program we do goes to YouTube. And programs 20 years old are now being loaded to YouTube. So if you think I've changed a little bit, I had black hair, I was on steroids, I had fat cheeks. Now I got sunken cheeks because I'm getting old. But go to YouTube, just Sherry Martin, and you can find all kinds of old problems. I found one last week with Nathan Donaldson that's way old. And we are loading those because I told the guys, I said, when I leave this world and go see Jesus, what you going to do with all these programs? So we just decided to put them out there for everybody. So there you go. So you can see your mama, your daddy, your aunt, and your granny. Anybody that's ever been here, you will see them on YouTube. I'll see you again soon. Bye, y'all.